This is the Tube Adventure to Athens in Greece, and Athens has a lot of very old looking lifts, like this one. Looks really epic, but then when you go inside it, it's all modernised. It's got really shitty, cheap Chinese logic, and it's just really dull, and a lot I like it. But there are some original ones which are very, very epic. So let's go and find them. And along to the first ones, which are in this very interesting old building. And look at all of these signs above the lift showing the different tenants of the building. That is so old-fashioned and so interesting. And the lift is an epic old, I'm guessing either 50s or 60s, in a doorless lift. Yes, let's ride it. And along some very interesting, extremely old looking lifts. How old are these? 1930s? 1950s? I don't know, but they are so fascinating. And they're inner doorless. And this building is epic. It feels half abandoned. It's really creepy. Along to a car park. This is an underground car park, and the weird thing about it is this really creepy little lift just tucked to the side. Notice they've had to make the slope walkway go flat just where the lift is. This lift looks like such a bodge. This was an old lift, but sadly it's been horribly modernised with Chinese crappy cheap logic. Ugh. This car park also has a really creepy spiral staircase, and you can go up his spiral from the 3 basements, but there's this weird hatch which is locked, so you can't actually exit the spiral staircase to the ground level. And along to the next lift, which is a 1920s Otis lift. I've never actually seen an Otis lift that looks like this before. Maybe it's some sort of Greek Otis lift. and along to this absolute classic 80s style shopping centre. You don't find places like this much anymore. This has got all that classic 80s style, that really sort of over top 80s look. Like, this is what I thought the future looked like in the 80s, and it looks amazing. And as well as that, it's in really good condition. This shopping centre has about half its shops empty, which is probably why it doesn't have the money to replace much, which is a good thing because it just looks amazing. This has got 2 glass cone M series lifts and both of them were not working. This place does have an epic non-glass cone M series TMS with full intelligent levelling, and it goes 1.6 meters a second. It's really awesome. And along to a glass Schindler Eurolift. And along to the Opera House, which has some glass Otis lifts. All of these lifts seem to have security guards outside saying not to use the lift, which is really bloody annoying. And a lot of them had people just holding the doors open for ages, but I did manage to eventually get a ride in one of these lifts. And this area looks really nice. And along to the Marriott, which has some, looks like 80s Otises bodged into Otis 2000s. And along into Interschittenental. I've got some like halfway between 80s Otis and Otis 2000 lifts, and these ones are glass. And along to a place where we were staying at. Obviously we couldn't afford any of these posh hotels. We were staying in the cheapest place we could find, which had good reviews, which was this little pension, and it was all very nice. There's nothing really anything bad to say about it. Quite an old fashioned looking room, but it does actually have a fridge, which was a nice surprise. And along to the lift in the building next door, which is in a doorless. And along down to the beach. The beach here wasn't that great. It wasn't really much in the way of resorts in Athens. I was expecting more resorts, but there wasn't really any. And along to an eco-disc. Let's surf it, just so I can say I've surfed a lift in Greece.
Τέταρτος όροφος, ταράτσα, λόμα. Level 4, terrace. Πρώτος όροφος, είσοδος και έξοδος οχημάτων.
Along to a lift at a metro station. This is a glass Otis lift, and this lift actually goes all the way from street level down to platform level, so it's actually quite a long trip, and it actually bypasses the ticket barriers. To this tall building. I think it was like the second tallest building in Athens or something. There was no buildings that were very tall. This was like somewhat tall, but lifts are really, really slow for the height of the building. Well, it's Otis. What do you expect from Otis? And along to another metro station lift. And along to a really bad glass hydraulic lift at Athens Central Station. And along to another station in Athens. And the lift here is actually branded as Mitsubishi. Bloody hell, Mitsubishi have let themselves go down to a whole new level of cheapness. Mitsu Lift Hellas SA from Mitsubishi. Fucking hell, this is not to Mitsubishi standard. Along into the next building. This has got, again, this really interesting old-fashioned wood sign showing all of the tenants of the building. The lifts look amazing, but sadly, horribly modded.
Perfect.
And along to this really interesting department store, which is not that big, it's quite narrow, but it's really tall. It's got like 9 floors. It's got some really nice, about 1.4, 1.5 metre a second glass cone TMS lifts. And in Athens, there's loads of really interesting, rather creepy, old-fashioned areas in between the shops, which look amazing. There's like little shopping centres. A lot of the lifts are fairly modded, although they look really nice on the outside.
στους λόγους, έτσι, να τα λέμε και αυτά. Λοιπόν, έχουμε τις αλληλικές τελικά που σας έλεγα στα λεωφορεία και θα είναι από ό,τι διάβαζα από αύριο.
So we come taking a look around Athens, and this is what Athens looks like. Apparently there's a lot of pickpocketing in Athens. Always, no matter where you are in the world, beware of these weird people dressed up in weird costumes around the street. Quite often these are used as distractions for pickpockets to go and pickpocket people watching them. And along into a very posh hotel, which sadly only has Otis Gen 2 lifts, are boring. And along into a posh hotel, which has a Schindler Eurolift. And now I take a ride on an Iris bus. And the non-trolley buses in Athens were all a bit battered. I only filmed this bus because it actually got speed with good acceleration. And now to a part of the Athens Olympics that isn't abandoned. This must be one of the main areas of the Olympics. And it's got some Schindler Eurolifts. And along to a Schindler Eurolift that's got the fastest, most efficient intelligent levelling I've ever seen on a Eurolift. This comes to a stop crazily quick. And this foot tunnel is very spooky. And a lot of the Olympics is completely abandoned. It's really fascinating, so make sure you check out my video of urban exploring the abandoned parts of the Athens Olympics. And now we go along to the harbour, and there's lots of really big boats here. And what's really interesting is you actually get real up close to the boats, which is really unusual. And now let's go back in the daytime and take a look at some really big boats. There's actually some even bigger ones in the daytime. What about if you just imagined if one of these boats was to capsize and sink? Well, you don't have to imagine, because that's what happened. And this URBEX of this sunk boat was so epic, it's in a separate video, so make sure you check out my video of this. It was absolutely amazing. And now along to the airport, and there's one thing I just have to talk about this airport in Athens. It's the overpriced tax they put on all public transport. Now, just consider a 5-day ticket for the Athens Metro and all public transport, not including the airport, is €9. €9 for 5 days. That's the going rate here. But a single ticket just to the airport is €10. The bus is slightly cheaper at €6, but if you can walk 3 miles and take a metro from the station just outside of the airport, you actually avoid the tax and don't have to pay it. So, if you want to avoid a tax, either walk 3 miles, or the cheapest way I found, surprisingly, was to actually get a taxi to this station. And this taxi costs €12. So, if you have 3 people or more, it's actually cheaper to get a taxi to the nearest metro station than get the 5-day ticket on the metro than it is to actually get the metro from the airport, which is so weird. And along to the overpriced airport hotel. You can't have an airport without an overpriced airport hotel, which has some Otis 2000 lifts. Along to the cheap part of the airport where all of the cheap flights go to, there's this long creepy travelator with these rather scary screens showing these really creepy people. Now it's time for the ultimate question. Which offers the worst exchange rate? The stupid overpriced exchange counter, which offers terrible rates, or the famously bad Euronet ATM?
Benvenuti in questo.